The Russian armed forces have reached operational freedom and have quickly advanced to the Dnipropetrovsk region. Good afternoon, dear friends. As always, we continue to analyze the frontline situation daily. Before we begin, I kindly ask you to subscribe to the channel. Your subscription supports its development, and I deeply thank everyone who has already subscribed. The situation on the front line for the Ukrainian armed forces is quite dire because Velyka Novosilka has been lost. This was a significant fortified area, both in size and importance, which held back a substantial grouping of Russian troops, including 3 brigades. With the fall of this fortified area, additional Russian forces are now freed up for further offensive operations. We will discuss this in detail today, so let's immediately bring up the map. Friends, we can now summarize. The urban-type settlement of Velyka Novosilka has completely come under the control of the Russian army. This is confirmed not only by Ukrainian sources such as Deep State, as you can see on the map, but also officially by the Ministry of Defense. The operation took 9 days. Although preliminary preparations began much earlier, with logistics being cut off and nearby villages like Novi Komar, Blahodatne and Neskuchne being captured, the first Russian army entry into Velyka Novosilka occurred on the morning of January 18th. They advanced from the north and from Vremivka. On January 26th, 9 days later, the settlement came under full Russian control. Let's now discuss AFU losses in this battle. It's difficult to determine the exact number because sources differ significantly on the initial size of the AFU garrison. My data suggests there were about 700 Ukrainian soldiers stationed there, while other sources claim up to 1,500. Regardless, AFU losses here are colossal. The 110th Brigade, for instance, was fully encircled at the start of the battles. They couldn't resupply ammunition, evacuate the wounded, rotate troops, or even retreat. On one side, they were blocked by rivers, and on the other, by Russian positions. It has been reliably documented that 358 AFU soldiers were killed 200th, but this figure was from 2 days ago, meaning the actual numbers might later be revealed to be much higher. I've shared videos on this in my Telegram channel, 2 videos in total. While I cannot show them here, you can find them there if you're interested. Link in the video description. The latest video posted last night shows a soldier walking through the area, counting casualties, 1 KIA, 2 KIA, 3 KIA, all from Velyka Novosilka. Again, check my Telegram for more details. Now let's discuss the next steps. With Velyka Novosilka under Russian control, where will the freed-up forces move? As I mentioned earlier, significant resources that were tied up in this operation are now available for new offensives. I can even tell you the primary direction these forces are likely to head: Dnipropetrovsk region. Let's analyze this in detail. Looking at the map, the operation to capture Velyka Novosilka involved 3 Russian brigades, a significant force. Now, with the fortified area taken, 2 main directions are possible for further advances. The first is along the road from Velyka Novosilka to Huliaipol towards Zaporizhzhia. The immediate objectives are Huliaipol and Kurakhove, with the ultimate goal being an advance on Zaporizhzhia itself. The second, and perhaps more promising direction, is northward toward the Dnipropetrovsk region, specifically in the direction of Novopavlivka. The situation here is advantageous. From Novi Komar to Otradne, there are only 8 kilometers of open fields without populated areas. Movement is also expected along the road, connecting a chain of small villages, Skudne, Dnipro Enahaya, and Vesela, all the way to Komar. This road links Zaporizhzhia with Kurakhove. Once Russian forces secure access to this road, they can proceed northward to Otradne and beyond to the Selidov-Novopavlivka highway, effectively opening the way to Novopavlivka, a large settlement in the Dnipropetrovsk region. Concurrently, advances are underway from Andriivka, so Russian forces moving from Velyka Novosilka will likely link up with the 114th Brigade, which is currently attacking this section. At the moment, Andriivka is under assault. According to Ukrainian reports and a video I shared on my Telegram, their forces there are in crisis, facing ammunition shortages, numerous wounded, and an inability to evacuate casualties. Although I won't make specific predictions this time, all signs suggest that the Ukrainian garrison in Andriivka won't be able to hold out for long. After Andriivka, only 4 villages separate Russian forces from Novopavlivka, 3 of which are tiny. Alexeyevka, a relatively larger village, approximately 3 square kilometers and over 1,000 pre-war residents. Zelenyi Kut, population of just 58. Novukrenka, population of 46. Dakhne, a village in the Dnipropetrovsk region with 78 residents. To the east, the advance toward Novopavlivka is similarly progressing, with only 1 small village, Kotlyarivka, standing in the way. The Ukrainian armed forces are in serious trouble. As I said earlier, February will likely see Russian forces entering the Dnipropetrovsk region, and perhaps even the start of battles for Novopavlivka itself. All developments point in that direction. Until yesterday, Russian forces were held back by Velyka and Novosilka, but that is no longer the case. Currently, the Kurakhove Russian grouping is still being restrained by Andriivka and Oleksiivka, but as I've already shown, this is a matter of 2 to 3 weeks. After that, the Russian army will reach operational freedom, advancing all the way to Novopavlivka. Ukrainian sources are already panicking because they understand the gravity of the situation, and now, so should you. Let's move on to the Kurakhove direction and take a look at the settlement of Dakhne. Switching to the map, as of yesterday, Russian forces had entered the outskirts of Dakhne from the north and east. Let me remind you that in this area, Russian troops were eliminating Ukrainian infantry using FPV drones. Most of the settlement has been cleared using these drones, and Russian forces are now entering to allow ground troops to finish the clearing operation. For now, updates have come from these territories. All areas marked in red are under Russian control. Additionally, south of Dakhne, Russian forces are expanding their control zone and have cleared all areas marked in red. Today, the map looks like this. Geomaterials indicate that Russian troops were attacked by a Ukrainian FPV drone, but managed to advance approximately 400 meters toward Dakhne. Now, let's move to Andriivka. Here, Russian forces have already entered from the northeast. As we previously discussed, Russian troops are aligning the front line along the supply road and plan to attack Andriivka along and near that road. This is a heavily fortified Ukrainian stronghold and a very strategic settlement. Switching to yesterday's map, as of yesterday, geomaterials showed Russian forces advancing 3 kilometers from Shevchenko and Petropavlivka toward Andriivka. Reports confirm that the pocket between Petropavlivka and Shevchenko has been fully cleared, with Russian troops now controlling the area from Yaseneve to Andriivka. Currently, Russian forces are storming Andriivka, with the map reflecting the situation as of today. Moving further north, Novoandriivka is reportedly under full Russian control. Confirmation materials are expected shortly, and the map will be updated accordingly. Russian forces are also assaulting Serebryan. Reports indicate that Nadiivka has also fallen under full Russian control, though geomaterials are currently only available for this section of the front line. Turning to Uspenivka, contrary to earlier Ukrainian claims that it was under Russian control, there are no Russian forces present there as of now. The settlement remains contested, with ongoing assaults by Russian troops. Additionally, Russian forces are attacking Novoalexandriivka from the south and east. Now, let's move to strategic points further north, specifically Udakhne and Kotlina. Kotline is already under Russian control, with the Russian Ministry of Defense confirming this development. However, Russian forces are encountering resistance at Udakhne, where Ukrainian forces are reinforcing their positions and launching counterattacks to slow the Russian advance. In Kotlin, Russian troops are expanding their zone of control, with the red-marked territory now under their control. New geomaterials from the northern part of Kotlin suggest that the Russian advance is likely directed toward the Pokrovska mine, with plans to cut the M30 highway leading to Pokrovsk after securing these territories. Further along the map, reports from Zelenyi indicate that battles are ongoing, with Ukrainian forces launching counterattacks to prevent Russian troops from advancing toward Novoukrainka. Similarly, in the Lysivka area, Ukrainian forces continue to supply reinforcements and have managed to push Russian troops out of parts of the settlement. Ukrainian supply lines are being maintained from Myrnohrad, with Russian forces previously positioned along this route but since driven back. Switching to the Mirnohrad direction, Russian troops recently captured Vozvijenka and have begun expanding their control in this area. Russian forces are currently storming Yelizavetivka, where they have secured positions on the outskirts. Ukrainian troops have built strong fortifications in the area, marked in black on the map. Russian forces are also reported to have entered Zelenyi Pole and taken Baranivka under control, though this information awaits confirmation. In Toretsk, new geomaterials confirm that Russian troops have advanced to the southern outskirts of the Toretsk mine, where they are engaged in ongoing battles with Ukrainian forces, who continue to resist. At Chasiv Yar, geomaterials show Russian forces using TOS-1A thermobaric weapons to destroy Ukrainian positions. This is a heavily fortified Ukrainian stronghold. Reports indicate that a nearby forested area has been fully cleared and is under Russian control, though confirmation materials are still pending. As of today, this is the situation on the front lines. I wish you all a productive day.